So welcome to all of you entrepreneurs and spiritual warriors out there. This is Rory with the 50 Entrepreneurs in 50 Days Abundance Mission. I am beyond excited to be speaking with my mate Parko today, who's from my very own mentorship team, to talk about his Amazon business. So let's dive right into this rabbit hole immediately. Welcome, Parko.
Thank you very much, my friend. I feel honored being here.
All right, well, let's get started. But wait, guys, wait. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of the gold coming out in the next 50 days from all sorts of amazing entrepreneurs, just like Parko, successful entrepreneurs who have their spiritual side intact. Okay, well, let's get into it. Parko, first things first, I don't know if you realize it, that I never forgot the day I first met you because I first of all realized that you were much further ahead of me in your Amazon business than I was, and I was super stoked to be able to be part of our mentorship team. So congratulations for making it work, mate. It took me a very, very long time to make mine work.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So for people out there, Parko, that looking to get into an Amazon business, um, you know, how do people win with this type of business, mate?
I can't hear you very well. Can you please repeat the question?
Ah, so people trying to get into an Amazon business, how are they going to win? Why should they do it?
Well, first of all, it takes time. It's not easy. It's not. It takes a lot of time to try different products, and then you make it. But it's gonna take time and money. And most of the time, people are not willing to do that. If they are willing to take the time to learn, to practice, to make mistakes, and find the right product, it's gonna be great. But it's gonna take time and effort.
Mate, and persistence.
Yeah, correct.
And so what model do you do, Parko? There's three types of model. Well, there's probably a few more models of Amazon that you can do, right? There's
Right.
private label where you manufacture and build a brand from scratch. Then there's wholesale, I guess, and online arbitrage. Which one do you do?
Well, I started doing Amazon with drop shipping when it was great. Profits were amazing, and then I moved into FBA, fulfillment by Amazon.
And so you do private label fulfillment by Amazon or
Correct. Yes, private label.
fantastic. So you have your own brand, do you?
Correct.
Awesome, mate. What's the name of the brand?
Well, there's some brands right now working. Isabella, Moonstyle, different type of brands that I'm working with. Well, they're mine, but I have to use different names
Is that why is that? Is it because they're different niches?
because of the niche.
Yeah, the niche. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. And so, look, Paco, I know that private label is tough, man. In fact, I moved away from private label because I launched over 100 products in private label during COVID, and just found it very, very difficult. Look, we had some success towards the end, but I just found the stress of it so overwhelming, man. Like, how long does it? What do you reckon it takes end to end to make one private label product? And how would you do that?
Well, it takes a lot of time. It took me, let me give you one example. To create one brand, it took me like 8 months of research. 8 months in Mexico. Mexico is a great place to do private label because the market is not as big as it is in the US. So it took me 8 months to do a complete research of the needs in the market. And then I started getting some samples. As you well know, you have to get samples from different suppliers, and you have to get the best quality, the best price, and the best shipping time.
Okay. And where do you
So it
buy
takes
your stuff from, Parko? It's to China?
Yeah, I right now I'm doing also from India and from China, from both.
And how did you find China during COVID? There was a very challenging time. Did you have any struggles during COVID? I mean, I know shipping 10x.
Yeah,
China had rolling blackouts and things like that. How did you navigate those challenges?
it was difficult, but luckily I had purchased a lot of products before it happened. But yeah, it after well during COVID, everything was more expensive, but I still had to buy products because, as you well know, if the product goes out of stock, the ranking dies.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, well, yeah, I know that from experience as well. Tell me, Parko, um, what's the upside of Amazon business? We're talking about, a lot of work, a lot of bases to cover and things like that. What's the upside? Why do you work so hard on your Amazon business? Yeah, so what's the upside, Parko? I mean, we talked about, it's a lot of hard work. Um, but why would you work so hard on an Amazon business for 8 months? Seems like a huge amount of work. What's the payoff?
Well, I used to be an employee for many years, so anyway, the difference is huge. I prefer to work for myself and for my family than to work for somebody else. So it takes time, yes, a lot of time, a lot of endless nights doing research. But once it's done, it's not that hard because it's all automated. You only have to buy the product, send it to the warehouse, and that's it. But for example, to make good money in my business, at least I can speak about my business. I have to invest at least $80,000 per year to make good profits. So it's not easy, but it's worth it. It is 100% worth it. I love
Yeah.
my business.
And what sort of profits are you looking at with private label over there in Mexico, Parko?
Well, it varies. Depending on the product, it goes from 50 to 100%. So it's good. The profit is good.
50 to 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. That's unheard of in my
Uh,
Amazon world, Parko. Unheard of.
yeah.
That's
That's
crazy.
why I love Mexico, man.
So you invest 80K and you make back 160.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then once it's all up and running, that's not bad money, right?
No, it's really good. As you well know, I went on vacation for 20 days. I traveled with my wife, and I was still making money every day, so it's good.
Perfect. Perfect. Um, Tell me, Parko, let's say you're doing, let's just say you're doing 5K a month. Do you take into account the equity in the business? Is that something people need to know?
Yeah.
My understanding is that equity in an Amazon store is approximately 40x the net trailing profit average over 12 months.
Hmm.
Would you say that's pretty close?
Yeah, I would.
Awesome. So if you're making 5K a month, that means that and you can prove that for 12 months, that means that your business is worth 40 times 5 is, God, my math is bad. 4 5 20 200K.
Yeah, and many people do this. They create the brand and they just sell the once they make good sales, they sell the brand.
And where would you sell something like that? Where would you sell your brand? Have you ever sold a brand, Parker?
No, I haven't. I wouldn't sell mine because I love it.
Yeah.
But many people do it.
And where do they sell those types of things? Where would you sell a brand, Parker?
Well, maybe when it's worth $1 million, I would sell it and then I would create a new one.
Yeah. Do you know where people usually sell these businesses though?
Yeah, I know some people. Yeah.
The question I was asking though is if you would, let's say I built an Amazon business, Parko. This is really for the
Hmm.
audience because I know the answer to a lot of these questions. But let's say that I built an Amazon business. Where would I sell something like that? Where would I sell my business or brand when I'm ready?
Well, there's always companies trying to buy brands. And they can even contact you and offer you a deal.
Okay. Have you been contacted before? All right. So, what advice would you give to someone who is considering an Amazon business in terms of the budget that they need to start with? Is it 80,000?
Well, if they want to start small, they can start with $500, but it's gonna take longer. If they want to start uh big, I would say 5K would be the list to get started.
Okay, and that's starting with one product.
Correct.
And so, in terms of suppliers, Parko, because we know, I'm not sure about India, but I do know that, let's say something goes wrong in China. In fact, I found this out the hard way. Um, I called my uncle once. I was getting pushed out for months and months and months by a supplier. Um, you know, for delivery time and production time. I asked to speak to their boss. I tried to negotiate. I tried to make my expectations clear. A lot of things. I realize now is probably the law of attraction that was doing most of this stuff, but they pushed it out for months and months and months, and I couldn't get my product to Amazon. And this was a really special product for me. It was one of my very first successful products. It was an epoxy resin and burl serving tray. Really beautiful product. But they just stopped helping. And I rang my uncle, who was the head of ASEAN, British American Tobacco, actually, big guy over there. And I called him and I said, Uncle, how do I hold these guys to account? How do I get these guys to operate in a manner that I find, like that they're actually trying to help me? Is there any big lawyers, over there? He said, Rory, just write it off, mate. He said, you cannot hold anyone to account in China. In fact, even if you try to hire a lawyer, they're not going to do very much for you. So how do people protect themselves when selecting a good supplier?
That is a great question, man. Well, that's why it took me 8 months, for example, to find a good product because I do a huge research on the supplier. I check on different web pages, and it takes time. And then you start building a relationship little by little. But like you said, anything could happen. I mean, I could send them 200K, and they can be gone, and there's nothing I can do. So it's just a matter of trust. So we have built a relationship, a very good relationship, and I trust them. But anything could happen, like you said.
How do you build good relationships with Chinese providers, Parko?
Well, talking to them, as you know, a salesman, we have to listen. We have to listen all the time. So once you listen to them, they open up and they start talking about family and all that. I send them a picture of my family. I can send them a gift and all that. So they are happy. I have, I would say, a manager in charge of my product. So I always talk to that manager. So I know about the family of that person, about that many things. And when they are traveling around the world, I tell them, hey, you know what? I checked online about this. Be careful, or go to this place. I'm sure you would love it. And it's not only about business; it's also about life. So they like that.
Right. So I see where I was falling down. Um, so Paco, like, yeah, it doesn't seem to be that much different to any other place then. Just treat people like human beings, ask about them, right? Actually
Correct.
care about what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. They love talking about themselves. So we just have to listen.
Amazing. All right. So Paco, what do you um give me 5 tips for starting an amazing Amazon business, and 5 things to look out for.
Okay. Number one, uh, be ready to fail at the beginning. You have to be willing to fail because it's gonna happen. We make mistakes and we learn at the same time, but we have to fail. It's not easy, especially at the beginning. Number two, have a good budget ready. and don't expect a quick return of that money. It's gonna take time. It won't be that fast. It's gonna take time. Um, Work daily on your products, on the marketing, because the product can be amazing, but if there's no good marketing, it won't sell. So work on the product daily and on the marketing. 4, don't worry. Well, I do this. Many people don't do it. I prefer to create products of value, so I don't worry about competition. There's products that sell similar products as mine, but they sell cheaper. Mine is more expensive because I provide value when I sell the product. But then people receive a PDF with instructions, they receive videos, they receive pictures. So mine sells for more money than others because I provide value. So I don't worry about competition. I don't compete with people. And number 5, well, build a good relationship with your supplier.
Excellent advice, my friend. Tell me 5 things to look out for. What do you need to pay attention to avoid? What would you what if what okay, let's go with 3. What are 3 things you would tell the person, the younger Parco, who was just starting an Amazon business, to be aware of and look out for?
And number 3, well, expect problems. Problems happen all the time.
What about picking a good product, Parco? Do you have a list? Do you have certain criteria you used to pick products?
Yeah, but first you have to check and you have to solve a problem. You have to find a product that solves a problem. One of my first products in private label was the screen protector for the iPhone. It sold very well.
Yeah,
Not that
because
much profit, but it sold well.
okay. And did you choose that because it had good search volume, or like good search volume versus not much competition at the time? I'm sure it's got huge competition now. Or you did mention about competition earlier. So, um, is it more about search volume and markets that, products that are a little bit newer to market, or is there something in particular you look for?
When I started, yeah, it was about search volume. But then as I got uh, like better in the business, I started worrying about solving the problem in the market. So I stopped worrying about search volume.
So you look for a newer type of product that solves a problem that a lot of
Correct.
people have.
Correct.
Okay. That, guys, is something you won't learn from the gurus, right? I worked for a guru. I did it. I worked for an Amazon guru for a long time. Um, and it was always about search criteria, search criteria. They mentioned improving the product. Um, but they never really talked about creating something that solves a problem. So you guys can tell when you're talking to a legit Amazon entrepreneur. I'm not saying that some gurus are not. So please just be careful if you're looking to learn about Amazon. Um, all right, Parco. Um, let's get into a few funny questions and then close this meeting off. Okay, my brother?
All right.
What's the what's the hardest moment you've ever had to deal with in business? Any business, Parco, and how did you come back from that?
Well, I would say not getting the product on time. It, it's uh, it's difficult when you don't get the product on time because, as you well know, it takes months for them to get delivered. And if you don't get the product on time, you can lose all the ranking in the product, and the product can die.
Understood. And Parco, earlier you mentioned, actually, sorry, that reminds me. Earlier you mentioned about marketing. Are we just talking about PPC, or in this day and age, like, is PPC really enough?
You're, I can't hear you very well.
Pay per
Can
click.
you please repeat the question?
Yeah, pay per
Oh
click.
yeah, yeah.
Is that is that all you need, Parko? Pay per click advertising, or is that just a myth?
No, it is true, but I mean, as you well know, what I'm doing is different. What I did is I am negotiating with experts in the niche that I'm selling. So I am teaching them to sell. So they sell my product offline, not through Amazon. But people know the experts, so they follow the experts. And when they mention the product, they look for it online, so they find it on Amazon too. But they see the product everywhere offline. So when they want to buy it, if there's not a distributor near them, they Google it and they find it on Amazon, and then they buy it from Amazon. But that's a good marketing because it's offline marketing through distributors around the country. And I also do PPC.
Right. So you do a bit of offline and online. You teach people how to sell the product to distributors.
Correct.
Very clever, Parko. Very clever.
They do all the marketing.
Starting to understand your true expertise, my friend. I mean, I know that you're a killer salesman, but I can see the real genius behind what you're doing here.
Otherwise, I would spend a lot of money on PPC.
I always found PPC very challenging. It wasn't something that, I mean, I could do it myself, but I didn't have the expertise. Um, and I just never found PPC companies very reliable. It was like if they were good at what they didn't report well. If they reported well, they weren't good at what they did. Is that your experience, Parko? And would you say do your own PPC?
Yeah, yeah, but like if I rely more on offline marketing, like people like distributors, they use TikTok, which is great. They use Facebook, they use Instagram, and they upload the videos they make, and then people look for a product on the marketplace on Amazon.
What's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you, Parko, in an Amazon business?
Well, I have purchased products that look bigger in the screen, but in real life they're smaller, so it was a waste of time, a waste of money and a waste of time. But it's okay. It's a lesson that we have to learn.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And if you had theme music for your business, what would it be? Would it be Rocky or Unchained Melody?
Well, I would say Rocky.
Yeah,
It's gotta be all the Rocky songs.
yeah, man. Get you up, get you picked up, and get you pumped up. Well, Parko,
Yeah.
man, it's been an absolute pleasure to do this with you. I can't wait. I'm so happy you're back, man, because I really enjoy having you around in our team meetings and things like that. Um, So really looking forward to getting this interview up and giving people looking to get into Amazon some real world, real truth about the industry. As you can see, guys, it's not easy to get into an Amazon business, but the eventual payoff is good. I don't think that there's many other businesses out there apart from what we're doing now, and you can reach out to myself or Parko about that. Um, that that hit as hard as an Amazon FBA brand and business, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of passive income, and in terms of building true generational wealth. So thank you for coming on, Parko, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and the next day and the next, my friend.
My friend Rory, I feel honored being here. It's always great talking to you.
Likewise, my brother. All right. That's the 50 Entrepreneurs in 50 Days podcast with my mate Parko. And stay tuned, guys. Remember, hit subscribe and stay tuned for the next bunch of big entrepreneurs coming out in the next few weeks. Just like Parko telling you the guys the truth in business, giving you people that you can respect and look up to in business, most of all, who operate with integrity, integrate Christ or Christ consciousness into their business, a higher power, anything like that. They're the types of people we're putting on here so that you can avoid people that just do things for money's sake. Because I can tell you from experience, doing things just for money's sake brings people into your life that do things just for money's sake, and that is not a good way to do business. Thank you, Paco.